Really can't
Oh, baby, don't hold out, baby.
but
It's cold outside.
The debate over Baby It's Cold Outside heating up in the post-Me Too world. Critics claim the Christmas classic is problematic when it comes to unwanted sexual advances. After one Ohio radio station pulled the 1944 song from its airwaves, stations across the U.S. are now weighing whether they'll keep playing it for years to come.
The PC people are really busy this week. We've got a lot of these stories. A California student claims the Christian children's show Veggie Tales is racist and dangerous.
Remember, God made you special and He loves you very much. Bye!
Aww.
A student submitting this project at Cal State San Marcos University claiming the popular kids show humanizes vegetables to promote racial stereotypes, casting the evil characters as racial minorities.
Oh my. Well, time now for the good, the bad, and the ugly. First, the good, an important life lesson for a little kid kicked off a bus for bullying.
It's extremely clear. Bullying is unacceptable. So today, my beautiful daughter is going to walk 5 miles to school in 36-degree weather.
Wow, that's some walk. Well, her dad driving behind his daughter during the 5-mile Ohio trek to school. He says he wanted to hold her accountable for bullying.
See, that's how you do it. Good dad there. Next, the bad, an intruder breaks into a house through a doggy door, squeezing through the 10 by 20-inch opening at a California home. The woman who lives there was in the bedroom, confronting the creep and scaring him off.
And finally, the ugly, a Los Angeles city councilman is making an absurd connection while pushing for mandatory vegan protein options. The lawmaker says the recent devastating wildfires are a sign we have to do more to protect the planet. He believes animal agriculture is, quote, one of the most, if not the most significant contribution to environmental issues.
The cow methane debate.
Right. Fox and Friends starts right now.
Through our tears, let us know the blessings of knowing and loving you, a great and noble man, the best father a son or daughter could have.
Today, lawmakers are expected to vote on a short-term spending bill to keep the government running for another 2 weeks.
The Russia investigation heating up this week and could soon come to a close.
Historians someday will comment that this was one of the most extraordinary efforts to undo the will of the American people.
Kirsten Gillibrand tweeting her vision for America. Our future is, says Gillibrand, female.
The thing about the Democrats, they can't see men's problems. Instead, they see men as the problem.
To us, he was close to perfect, but not totally perfect. The man couldn't stomach vegetables, especially broccoli. And by the way, he passed these genetic defects along to us.
Ace Frehley, who I tried to interview, didn't say much back. Because Ace Frehley was with Kiss. Okay. Right? And
so you would ask him questions and he wouldn't respond.
Really answer. Yeah. It was very frustrating, but I do believe we are back in the groove.
In the New York groove.
In the New York groove. Yeah.
It's not any groove, it's the New York groove.
What makes you believe that?
Because I feel it. I can't describe it. It's a feeling.
I was in my office getting ready for the show, and you were out here on set giving the tease of what's coming up on our show. And he said, we've got the Jeopardy winner on, who he won. One of the reasons he won is because he knew that by the name of our show, Fox and Friends. And you said he gave us an exclusive interview. He decided not to go on any of the shows.
At the last minute, he pulled himself
bailed on
out
all
of
the other
New Day,
shows
on CNN and decided to go with us.
Got it. Smart
I'm not familiar with that show. Anyway, thanks for joining us. We're back in the New York groove. And you know what? We've got a busy 3 hours. It starts right now with this. It is the final farewell to George Herbert Walker Bush, born in 1924, and was about to be buried later today. This is a live look inside St. Martin's Episcopal Church in Houston, Texas, where the president is lying in repose.
Yeah, there are huge crowds there lining up. They showed up overnight to pay their respects to Bush 41.
I'm just thinking about Jim McGrath, his longtime aide, who published a tweet saying that Bush 41 thought, will anyone go? He worried that no one would show up. Man, did they show up. William Ageness joins us live from the Presidential Library in College Station, where the president will be buried today. Hey, William.
Good morning, Brian. Imagine what an emotional roller coaster it has been for the Bush family. Anyone who has lost someone close knows you just try to get through the service in one piece. The Bushes had the Rotunda on Monday, Tuesday, the National Cathedral yesterday, and then another service today at 10 a.m. in Houston at St. Martin's. The eulogy delivered by former Secretary of State James Baker and the president's grandson, George P. Bush. Now, following that service, the funeral train will come here to College Station. Now, one of the reasons the president chose Texas A&M as his final resting place, it was founded as a military college. They still have many of the traditions here. We spoke to some of the 2,400 cadets, and they said they will be honored to be part of today's ceremony.
There's a lot of things that you can emulate from President George Bush. We hope to really carry on the traditions of showing the utmost respect to every tradition and everything that we stand for.
So the train is going to pass through 8 cities, 70 miles. It will slow down, but it will not stop. Now, along the sides, there's plexiglass on the funeral car, allowing those who line the route to see the casket inside. It will arrive here around 3:25. It will be met by a chorus of cadets as well as the Aggie Band. The funeral, well, they were common. These funeral trains were common in the 18 and 1900s. Lincoln, Grant, Roosevelt, and the last one, Eisenhower, in 1969.
People are not as accustomed to travel by passenger rail on train. We mainly haul freight. But President Bush, as a veteran of World War II, he went to war on the train. He came home from war on the train. And I think that emotional connection to the railroad really stuck with him.
So the train is going to stop about a mile from here. The family will get off the passenger cars, followed by the casket. Then it will make a short drive here. The Navy will have a 21-jet flyover, and then, of course, the 3rd jet in that missing man maneuver will head towards the heavens. The family will then disappear in the area behind me with sycamores and oaks to the burial area where the president will be buried with alongside Barbara and, of course, their daughter Robin, who died of leukemia at age 3. And then you'll hear that final 3-volley shot telling us that the president is now gone with the ages, but his legacy will live on here at the university and the library. Guys, back to you.
All right,
He's finally home.
Live in College Station. I love the idea of this train that looks like the 747, Bush 4141, Union Pacific. I've been reading up about it. Union Pacific back in, I think, 2005, 2006, decided to do this, dedicated especially to him. And William mentioned the last time they had a funeral train was with Dwight Eisenhower when he was buried back in 1969. And I was there. I was a 6th grade kid. In Abilene, Kansas, we saw the train pull up and saw them take the body off of the train right there in the Abilene Depot. It is a day that Texas will never forget.
He deserves it. Yeah, there were a lot of people there yesterday. Phil Mickelson was there, Peyton Manning, Prince Charles was there, Angela Merkel, not to mention all the political figures that were there too.
That first row was magical. All the presidents, no matter who you voted for or didn't, it was great to see them all.
They seemed, it didn't seem like they were all talking to each other.
Can you give me 1 second to be idealistic before you shoot me down? Can we wait for the commercial? Meanwhile, there's no doubt about it. The Bush family prides themselves on the emotion. They say, listen, we're a family of ballers. So you wonder how President George W. Bush, who was so close to his dad, would handle getting through the eulogy. And here's a portion of it.
We're going to miss you. Your decency, sincerity, and kind soul will stay with us forever. So through our tears, let us know the blessings of knowing and loving you, a great and noble man, the best father a son or daughter could have. And in our grief, let us smile knowing that Dad is hugging Robin and holding Mom's hand again.
Of the 4 eulogists, his was the only speech that got applause. But there wasn't a dry eye in the house.
When you mentioned Robin was 3 years old when she died of leukemia, a nightmare for a parent, I can only imagine. She was born in 1953, and now the 3 of them are back together again.
Right. So I hearken back to the respect that the president's getting right now in death is gratifying. But yet, I also remember vividly how he was treated in life, especially in his 4 years in office. Britt Hume actually covered him then, got to know the family well, and put it all in perspective last night.
For this occasion, when this man is getting at last, I think, the recognition that he deserved for what was a momentous and important presidency in which very important things were accomplished that were kind of overlooked at the time because in part because they went well. So I was honored to be there and to see it all and to hear it all and experience it all.
John Meacham, who was the first of the eulogists, gave the former president, George Herbert Walker Bush, a chance to hear the speech. Because keep in mind, they have been planning this funeral since 2011. And Meacham said the former president, 41, looked at it and heard it and then goes, "That's a lot about me, John." But then again, it's supposed to be all about him. And as you watched yesterday, and it was impossible to stop watching because it was, you know, when we bury our presidents, the American federal government does such a beautiful job. And given the fact that the Bush family has planned this for so long, such attention to detail, it was beautiful.
And there were some sweet moments, some touching moments, and some funny moments. 43 talked about how his dad was no Fred Astaire. He couldn't dance very well, and he hates vegetables, especially broccoli.
Right, and he goes, and I inherited both those
Pass
things.
that trait on.
All right, now soon with President Bush's body now in Houston, he'll be buried later on today. Washington is trying to get back to business as usual and fighting as usual, which is so much a part of what we've been witnessing over the last few years. The Senate and House is expected to pass a short-term spending bill. It lasts about a couple of weeks to avoid a shutdown. I think it's only right and polite. However, the big issue has not been solved yet, and that is what's happening at our border, the funding of the border wall, which the president ran on and won on, as well as the decision by Secretary of Defense Mattis to leave our troops on the border past Christmas, and they're bracing for a surge of illegal immigrants in Arizona now.
Oh, yeah, we saw what happened in Tijuana, where Tijuana borders with San Diego, and that was on November 25th, and we saw those folks trying to storm the border. That's when the Border Patrol agents had to use the tear gas because the migrants were throwing rocks and debris, according to the agents. They were taunting the agents. And now they're worried that this could happen in Arizona, so they had a major training session, a large-scale operational readiness exercise, just to prepare.
That's right. Also, a couple of days ago, apparently, one of the members of the migrant community there in Tijuana climbed over the border fence and landed on the American side, and she was 8 months pregnant. And she was arrested along with some others, and then she had the baby here on American soil, and the baby now, according to law, is an American citizen. She did say that her dream was to come to the United States and do that, be reunited with her family in Columbus, Ohio. And she said that giving birth on U.S. soil was the big reward for the long journey all the way from Honduras.
Brings up the debate of birthright citizenship, which the president brought up a couple of weeks right before Election Day. I think
it's the law.
The president's not for it. He says it's ridiculous, and he wants to sign an executive order to end it.
If you're the president of the United States and you want to show people what I was saying from 2016 to today, and that is building the wall and getting security is a major issue in America, what is playing out right now is exactly what the president said. It is chaos on the border. They need help. They need a barrier. And I think he's going to go to the mat to get his $5 billion.
Well, that 19-year-old that gave birth, she was released from custody pending her immigration case. Her family was released as well because of the catch and release. Her child is now an American citizen. All right, let's hand it over to Carly, who has some headlines for us. Hey, Carly.
Guys. Hey, and we begin here with a Fox News alert. A desperate search underway right now for 5 Marines after a warplane collides off the coast of Japan. 2 crew members have been rescued so far. One of them is in fair condition. The second Marine is being evaluated at a hospital. The fighter jet and refueling plane crashed during a routine training exercise like the one seen here. We'll bring you more information on this as it comes in. At least 2 people are dead after a semi-truck slams into a packed school bus head-on. The bus carrying a high school girls basketball team on an Illinois interstate. A 72-year-old team volunteer and the truck driver are dead. At least 4 students are injured. This is the second crash this week involving students. On Monday, a bus carrying a youth football team flipped in Arkansas. A 9-year-old boy was killed there. And listen to this. An Amazon worker is in critical condition after a machine punctures a can of bear repellent. sending fumes into the air. Two dozen employees at the New Jersey warehouse rushed to the hospital with burning eyes and throats and difficulty breathing. Bear repellent is very similar to pepper spray. And President Trump will speak at 2 White House Hanukkah receptions today. All Jewish members of the House and Senate are invited. Tonight marks the 5th night of Hanukkah. The ceremonies were delayed to honor President George H.W. Bush. And those, guys, are your headlines.
A busy day. All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Carla.
Carla.
Thank you.
All right. Meanwhile, Special Counsel investigator Robert Mueller says former Trump advisor Michael Flynn should not go to jail because he was so cooperative. So should the Trump camp be concerned? Andy McCarthy doesn't think so. He'll explain why. Coming up next.
Plus, Senator Kristen Gillibrand rumored to be a 2020 contender. But she wants you to forget about men.
Exactly.
She says the future is female.
I hear you.
I can't believe it.
That Grandpa's nose is performing Flight of the Bumblebee?
No, you goof. I can't believe how easy it was to save hundreds of dollars on my car insurance with Geico.
Nice.
I know, right?
Believe it, Geico could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
I want to be with you. Yes, I do. Everywhere you go, I want to be with you.
The greatest wish of all is one that brings us together. The Lincoln Wishlist event is here. Sign and drive off in a new Lincoln with 0 down, 0 do-it signing, and a complimentary first month's payment. Only at your Lincoln dealer.
This is an invitation to experience a place between dreams and reality, to dive into life. Are you ready? Atlantis, Bahamas at heart.
Book your winter vacation by December 10th at 1-800-ATLANTIS or AtlantisBahamas.com.
Sometimes the pressures of today's world can make it tough to take care of yourself, but Nature's Bounty has innovative ways to help you maintain balance and help keep you active and well-rested. Because, hey, tomorrow's coming up fast. Nature's Bounty, because you're better off healthy.
Freezing cold. Blazing heat. Rain-X Silicone Advantage wiper blades are engineered to withstand the most extreme conditions. They last 2 times longer than traditional wipers. If Rain-X Silicone Advantage wipers survive these conditions, clearly they'll last in yours. Rain-X, outsmart the elements. Find Rain-X Silicone Advantage wipers at these retailers.
For the aches and pains that stop you in your tracks, Tommy's got your back. Tommy Copper's revolutionary pro-grade shoulder shirt, now available in long sleeve, delivers pain-relieving compression to your shoulders and the muscles along your spine.
The Tommy Copper shoulder shirt has double support panels to bring our shoulders back into a neutral position, which helps to reduce pain in the lower back, the mid-back, and shoulders.
Visit TommyCopper.com to see all the ways we can help relieve your pain. Go now and save 25%. Tommy's got your back.
Over the last 24 hours, you've finished preparing him for college. In 24 hours, you'll send him off thinking you've done everything for his well-being. But meningitis B progresses quickly and can be fatal, sometimes within 24 hours. While meningitis B is uncommon, about 1 in 10 infected will die. Like millions of others, your teen may not be vaccinated against meningitis B. Meningitis B strikes quickly. Be quick to talk to your teen's doctor about a meningitis B vaccine.
Not sure you have the right credit card? Know which one to get? Turn to the nerds. Hey there, aloha. Need a card with great travel rewards? Turn to the nerds. Yowza, that sounded expensive. Time for a credit card with a lower interest rate? Turn to the nerds. Can we crack a window or something? The experts at NerdWallet make it easy to make smart money moves. Compare and find the best credit cards for you at nerdwallet.com.
Former Trump National Security Advisor Michael Flynn helped Robert Mueller's investigation so substantially that the special counsel recommended no jail time for lying to federal investigators. But should anybody be concerned in the president's camp or the president himself? And where will the Mueller probe go from here? Are they almost done? Let's ask former Assistant U.S. Attorney and Fox News contributor Andy McCarthy. Andy, you see the 7 pages? You see the redactions? What do you make of it?
Well, of course, we can't see what's under the redactions, so we don't know exactly what it is that that General Flynn told the special counsel, or at least how the special counsel interprets it. But I think the part that we're able to see, Brian, is consistent with what I've been arguing for the last number of months and what some other people have observed, which is, number one, we're winding down toward the end of this. You don't let as a prosecutor, you don't let the cooperating witnesses get sentenced until you're at the end of the investigation and you can make an appraisal of how cooperative they've been. And secondly, there's a lot in there that indicates that Mueller is trying to justify the FBI's investigation. That is to say, even if they don't find that there was citable criminal conduct on the part of President Trump, they will say that there was adequate reason for the FBI and the Obama administration, very controversially, to launch an investigation of the opposing party's campaign.
So meanwhile, they picked up Flynn by listening to Kislyak, and we're not supposed to know who Flynn's name was. He's an American, but it turns out his name ends up in the Washington Post. Does that bother you?
It bothers me in this sense, Brian. That felony, that is the dissemination of that national security, that classified information to the Washington Post, is by a geometric standard a more serious offense than anything that Flynn did. In fact, it wasn't until I actually, looking at this, I think Flynn, their rationale for prosecuting Flynn is the misstatements about Turkey and the fact that he should have registered with the Justice Department under the FARA provision, the foreign agent provisions, and that wasn't treated as a crime until Mueller came along. Generally, the Justice Department would tell you to get right with the law; they wouldn't make it a felony. But here we have this dissemination of FISA information, which is among the country's most closely held classified information. And as far as who's going to get prosecuted for that, all I'm hearing is crickets so far.
Yeah, and in terms of collusion, speaking to a Russian ambassador is not collusion. Speaking to an Israeli ambassador is not collusion.
Not if you're the...
That's called doing your job.
Right. Yeah, if you're the incoming national security advisor, that's kind of what you're supposed to be doing. Right. I do think it's kind of surprising to see, maybe not surprising, but Mueller cites the Logan Act, which is this really unconstitutional 2+ century old provision that no one's ever been prosecuted under. He kind of endorses that as a basis for investigating Flynn.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Well, you do see some indications, like others, that this meeting might be coming to a close. Andy McCarthy, thanks so much. All right, meanwhile, coming up straight ahead, parents can now track their kids the same way police track criminals. Is that a good idea? GPS ankle bracelets? I think so.
This program is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. The best or nothing.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
If I built a van, it would carry my entire business.
I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger with active brake assist.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Maria Ramirez?
Hi.
Maria Ramirez.
Mom! Maria!
Maria Ramirez.
McDonald's is committing $150 million in tuition assistance, education, and career advising programs.
Maria Ramirez.
To help more employees achieve their dreams.
I asked Markham.
I asked Markham.
Ask Markham.
Ever wonder where the people with all the answers get all the answers? Ask Markham, accountants and advisors.
For powerful suction, you need a Shark.
With 2 swappable batteries at maximum suction, the Shark INF80 has more runtime than the Dyson V10 Absolute. Or choose the upright model for whole home cleaning, only from Shark.
It's time to take a different look at SiriusXM. Listen now with new subscriptions as low as $5 a month plus fees. Or subscribe to one of our best packages and get a free all-new Amazon Echo Dot. Hear commercial-free music plus sports, talk, comedy, and more. Visit SiriusXM.com/GetSXM or call to get complete offer details for your car, your home, or anywhere you are. Get a great offer at SiriusXM.com/GetSXM.
These folks, they don't have time to go to the post office. They have businesses to grow, customers to care for, lives to get home to. They use Stamps.com. Print discounted postage for any letter, any package, anytime, right from your computer. All the amazing services of the post office, only cheaper. Get our special TV offer, a 4-week trial plus postage and a digital scale. Go to Stamps.com/try and never go to the post office again.
Here's some quick headlines for you. French President Emmanuel Macron scraps his fuel tax hike after weeks of protests. He originally planned to delay the tax, meant to curb global warming. One protester now encouraging people to keep pushing for things like higher minimum wage. More demonstrations are scheduled for this weekend. And recreational marijuana is now legal in Michigan. It is the first in the Midwest to legalize pot and the 10th in the country. Anyone over the age of 21 can have up to 2.5 ounces of the drug. Smoking on federal property and driving under the influence are illegal. Steve?
All right, Ainsley, thank you. Parents now have a new way to track their teenagers, but it's the same way some police officers keep track of those on house arrest. A South Florida company is debuting GPS ankle monitors, giving parents the ability to track their kids 24 hours a day. But is this going a little too far? Here with the discussion, we've got the owner of Tampa Bay Monitoring, Frank Kopczynski, and family therapist Tom Kirsting is Screen Right. Guys, good morning to you.
Good morning, Steve. Good morning.
All right, Frank, let's start with you. Hold up the gizmo and tell us who this is intended for.
Well, actually, we were contacted by parents, and what they asked us for was there a way of monitoring their children? We're talking about runaways. We're talking about children sneaking out in the middle of the night who might have who they suspect has a drug problem, is looking to score drugs. So in order to be able to tell where they are, to be able to intervene, this was the device that we came up with that was the answer. And for several reasons. Number one, it is a heavy device, but it has a strap that's almost impossible to cut off, which juvenile authorities will tell you the biggest problem that you have with monitoring children is they cut the strap if it's a simple strap.
Right, and I understand as well, the parent can turn on, there's a microphone there, you can actually hear what is being said in the room. So Tom, what do you think about this? I mean, clearly, Frank makes it very abundantly clear this is for parents who are at wit's end because their kids are running away, using drugs. They are at the bad end of the spectrum.
Well, yeah, I think at first blush, when people hear about this, parents, they think it's extreme. You know, we're tracking our kids now with ankle bracelets. It sounds very criminal. And there are apps, I mean, like Zift. I don't know if you've heard of that. Zift is an app that you can put on your phone. It does a lot of different things, one of which is GPS tracking if you are apt to do that with your children. So I think before anybody goes after Frank saying how terrible he is for inventing something like this, you know, what you're saying, Frank, is for kids with criminal behavior, drugs, running away, and so forth. Those are the extreme examples. So, you know, I think we have to read into it a little more before we make any decisions on it.
So, Frank, if you're just the average parent looking in right now and you wonder every once in a while, I wonder if my kid's at the mall, I wonder if they're at school or something like that, this is not for them, right?
No. No. I compare this to a smoke detector in your house. The smoke detector is not going to put out the fire. It's going to allow you to save you and your family's lives by evacuating the house. I encourage all my parents that if your child has a drug problem, if your child has mental issues, get help. We don't like. I don't want to ever foresee keeping something like this on longer than 6 months. This should be a stopgap to keep them from possibly ending up a statistic.
Sure.
Dying of a drug overdose or being trafficked, which are horrible situations.
Now, one other quick thing, Steve. I think it's harder if we have an app like the one I mentioned on the phone. You're going to have a harder time getting the phone away from your child than you are getting that GPS thing off of them.
Sure. And, everybody who's got an iPhone can do Find My iPhone, and you can track everybody on your account. If I want to know where my wife is, sometimes I'll just, oh, there she is right there. Frank, I understand you have been hearing from parents from all across the country who are interested in this service, which does cost between $8 and $10 a day, but you can only serve the people down in the Tampa Bay area, right?
That's correct. For obvious reasons, if the child, for example, is playing football or soccer, they sustain an injury, they need a CAT scan. I don't have a jet to fly to Montana or to Illinois to take a bracelet off, have them take the test, and then put the bracelet on another ankle. So for safety's sake and being able to maintain the device correctly, we don't do that.
All right. Well, now we know all about it. Tom and Frank, thank you very much. Good discussion.
You're very welcome.
You betcha. All right. 6:29 here in New York City. Let us know what you think about that. Meanwhile, this video that we're showing you right here, a cyclist nearly hit by a speeding train at a railroad crossing, as you can see right there. Guess what? It just happened again at the same spot. New video coming up. Plus, Senator Kristen Gillibrand is rumored to be a 2020 contender, but she wants you to forget about men because she says the future is female.
Cartel's top mule's on his way to a drop. We know it's a black pickup, it's a needle in a haystack, but at least it's a start.
We'll get her done. This new guy, he delivered $3 million worth of coke.
You've been entrusted with a very valuable cargo, and I don't trust you.
I'm not intimidated by you.
The DEA is cracking down.
Don't be stupid, or you disappear.
Rated R.
You wouldn't feel good not knowing the price here. Don't let it happen when you buy your diabetes test strips. With the AccuCheck Guide Simple Pay program, you pay the same low price, all without having to go through insurance. Plus, they come in a spill-resistant vial along with a free meter. Skip the guessing game and focus on your health, not the cost. Make saving simple today at simplepaysaves.com.
The Season of Adventure sales event is happening now. Land Rover, above and beyond. The Season of Adventure sales event is happening now. Land Rover, above and beyond.
I still can't believe you got me a tennis bracelet.
What can I say?
You're amazing.
I know. It's nothing.
Really? My mom should be thanking me for that bracelet. I showed my dad this deal at Hillsburg. He bought jewelry, and I got this Nintendo Switch. Free! It's my finder's fee.
Buy a gift like a diamond tennis bracelet and get a Nintendo Switch system free at Hellsberg Diamonds.
This is not a bed. It's proven quality sleep. The new Sleep Number 360 smart bed from $9.99 intelligently senses your movement and automatically adjusts on each side to keep you both effortlessly comfortable. It can even warm your feet to help you fall asleep faster. How smart is that? Smarter sleep to help you shed those sugar cookies, get a running start on the holidays, and take it all in with the patience of a saint. Don't miss the last chance to save up to $500 on select Sleep Number 360 smart beds. Ends Monday.
My team spent a lot of time and money posting jobs. We would get a flood of resumes, but finding the right person was nearly impossible. My budget has to stretch, but my time can't. I was tired of using 12 vendors. Then I learned that CareerBuilder has everything. Data to help us plan, a single source to find candidates, marketing tools to engage them, and the fastest background screening on the market. So we made the switch. Now we get the right person faster. It's not just efficient, it's smart. CareerBuilder, work can work.
And we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song.
Oh, Big and Rich. You know, Brian, I have not told you that I was actually at John Rich's place, his saloon in Nashville, and it was great.
Yeah, 3 floors straight up, right? Towards the end, close to the water.
Yo,
and then
I'm jealous.
And you look across the street, and is it Luke Bryan? And
Kid Rock's.
And Kid Rock. Right
Kid Rock, Luke Bryan, Big and Rich, they all have bars there. I have not been to Dallas. I mean, Dallas. I have not been to Nashville in years, and it is such a fun city. You walk into a bar, and they are like 3 to 5 levels, and every level has a live band.
Right, a different band. It's not the same one that they just pipe the music. It's so cool.
Can we take the show on the road and go there? Please?
Why not?
Well, Steve would not have final say on that. You're asking Steve as a favor. But I also like the FGL House had that decision to go slightly off
Florida
Broadway.
Georgia line.
Right. For those in the music industry, I use short terms like that.
All right.
Because I was second clarinet in the old junior high.
Sure.
I feel like I'm in the business.
It's middle school now.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, junior high, is that a put down somehow? Is that not politically correct?
I think it just shows you
can't
how
say
old
junior?
you are.
All right. All right, but it's slightly off Broadway. I think that was a pretty good idea.
Okay, and Broadway's the main drag.
Right. We have a Broadway here in New York, and speaking of New York, we also have a Senator, Kristen Gillibrand, and she is talking about a possible run for 2020, and this is what she tweeted out. She said, "Our future is female, intersectional, powered by our belief in one another, and we're just getting started."
Now, here's the thing. The future is female.
She left out all of you guys.
Left out a gender. Marco Rubio noticed that. He responded with, "Our future is American, an identity based not on gender, race, ethnicity, or religion, but on the powerful truth that all people are created equal with a God-given right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness."
Does Senator Gillibrand know that men get to vote still? I mean, what is she looking to alienate 48% of the population? Her other problem with Senator Gillibrand is the fact she's alienated the Clintons by saying that, Bill, not supporting the Clintons, who basically she would not have a senatorial career without the Clintons.
Yeah, because she condemned what happened with Monica Lewinsky, and one of Hillary's campaign managers,
Philippe Reines.
Yes, he tweeted out, "Over 20 years, you took the Clintons' endorsements, money and seat. Hypocrite. Interesting strategy for 2020 primaries. Best of luck."
I do believe that Donald Trump has tweeted something similar regarding that she would ask for money. She and Schumer had asked for money. I think that's the way it was in one of his infamous tweets.
I just like
New York lawmakers.
We did lose 2 people off the Democratic field. Deval Patrick said, "Don't look for me. I was the governor of Massachusetts. I like being the former governor of Massachusetts. That's it." I guess he went back to the business world. And Michael Avenatti says, "I'm not going to run," which is shocking because I can't picture that he was even considering running.
He says he doesn't want to put his family through that.
Yeah. Michael Bloomberg, who I think would be a formidable opponent to the president, he said yesterday that if he were to run for president, he might consider selling his company. But think about it. I mean, he would be the richest guy in the race. And
Did he say it from Iowa?
He was at an event where there were some disruptors.
We'll see. We'll see.
So
a lot of them are saying they're going to let us know whether or not it's a yes or a no for them after the holidays.
All right.
First of the year.
That's good to know.
All right. Meanwhile, 25 minutes before the top of the hour, and Carly's got
Here we go again, Carly, talking about another presidential election. That's right. 2020 just around the corner. Can you believe it? All right, take a listen to this. The brutal murder of an American tourist in Costa Rica may have been sexually motivated. Carla Stefaniak's body was found half buried under plastic bags behind her Airbnb. She died from stab wounds and blunt force trauma. A security guard who lived in the apartment next door is under arrest. Now, he's an immigrant from Nicaragua who has reportedly been living in Costa Rica illegally. He became a suspect after giving inconsistent information to police. Carla was in Costa Rica to celebrate her birthday. Heartbreaking. And a North Carolina sheriff stops cooperation with ICE on his first day. Sheriff Gary McFadden officially ending the program in Mecklenburg County. It allowed deputies to run suspects' names through immigration databases and share that information with ICE. McFadden says the program, quote, erodes trust with our community. He says ICE will now need court-issued warrants to gain access to jails. And stop what you're doing and watch this. A person on a bike is nearly hit by an oncoming train. Surveillance video showing the cyclist getting out of the way just as the train comes speeding by. This happening in the Netherlands. The same thing happened to another cyclist at the very same crossing. Get this, last week. Officials just put up a fence in hopes of preventing any more dangerous close calls. Yeah, that's necessary. And a little girl gets a lesson in tough love when she's kicked off her bus for bullying.
Let me make this extremely clear. Bullying is unacceptable. So today, my beautiful daughter is going to walk 5 miles to school in 36-degree weather.
Oh, yeah, that'll teach her. The dad driving behind his daughter in Ohio. He says he wanted to hold her accountable after she was kicked off the bus for a second time. That video has been viewed 15 million times on Facebook. So what do you guys think? Is that a good thing to do? Good lesson to learn?
It's a long distance. It's 36 degrees. I get the dad's anger. But then by posting it on the internet, which is forever, that is going to be out there as long as they all live.
That's a tough one. I mean, he's tough, which I like, and he's doing something about the bullying.
I'm sure he didn't know that it would go viral, and I see your point there.
No, but sometimes I always kind of cringe when they post these videos because I think they're shaming their kids.
Although you didn't see her face.
Right,
At least in that
but
part.
let me tell you this, if you've ever been bullied and then the parents, how many times do we wish the parents of the person bullying you were strong like that and tough and
Hold
doing
them
something
accountable.
about it? Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because
and there's not going to be a third time. She's not going to bully on the
Right.
bus anymore, that's for sure.
Don't post it too cold, too far, but it's good to see our parent actually
Being
say,
tough.
my kid was wrong, rather than, well, wait a second, there's got to be more to the story, and the school's got to be wrong, and the bus wasn't working right, and this bus driver's got to take control. Instead, this guy says, okay, it's obviously my daughter's a problem, but just the way in which he did it, almost as if he wants to give himself praise.
Well, and
by being tough.
he said, my beautiful daughter. I like that he said that because you can tell he's a loving dad and complimenting her. But you have to think about the kid being bullied, though. Yeah. Sometimes these kids get bullied and they hate going to school and it ruins their lives. And some of them, it leads to major problems down the road. So
Let us know what you think. Did the dad's heart was in the right place? Did he go too far by posting it? Email us, friends@foxnews.com. We're also on Facebook. Meanwhile, Janice Dean is outside where it is really cold.
I can confirm that. Yes, it is cold out here. But look at my friends that came. You're from Phoenix, Arizona. What's your name?
Michael.
And
Michael Lecce.
70 degrees, right?
It's 70 degrees yesterday, and this is the only time I ever get to wear a coat like this.
Okay, well, congratulations. And mother-daughter here, what are your names?
Connie.
And?
Janie.
Are you having fun so far?
Wonderful time.
You want to say hi to anybody?
Hi, Pat.
Is that your husband who's at home and not having fun with the girls? Let's take a look at the weather. I want to hang out with you girls. Okay, let's take a look at the weather. I'll show you how cold it is because you know what? The cold air is in place, and that means the potential for another winter storm. We have a little bit of lake effect snow across the northeast, but our next storm system is going to originate from the west. It's going to travel across Arizona, and it's going to bring the potential for not only heavy rain and severe storms, but ice and snow. So this is going to be what is happening on Friday and Saturday. It's going to cause a lot of travel delays. So just keep you posted. Are you girls going to get into trouble today?
We're going to try.
I'm hanging out with them. All right. You want to say hi to Steve Ainsley and Brian? Come on over here, Mr. Phoenix. Hi, Steve Ainsley and Brian.
We're going to try to get into trouble. Listen, they came to the right city.
Can I tag along
I'm hanging with them.
All right.
They're cute.
Keep them on,
Thanks,
there's cameras everywhere.
41 minutes after the top of the hour. Christmas is just 19 days away, and if you're still working on that gift, gentlemen,
that's what you wanted again this year, right?
How about a drone for more than 70% off? Mega Morning Deals Christmas edition coming up.
Right, or a remote control car.
So, Ainsley, don't be surprised when you get that. Plus, Brian.
The left has been focusing on Paul Manafort and his alleged ties to Russia, but the feds are reportedly also investigating a Hillary Clinton insider who wears suspenders. Judge Napolitano doesn't wear suspenders. He goes with the belt.
Just give me
freezing cold, blazing heat. Rain-X Silicone Advantage wiper blades are engineered to withstand the most extreme conditions. They last 2 times longer than traditional wipers. If Rain-X Silicone Advantage wipers survive these conditions, clearly they'll last in yours. Rain-X, outsmart the elements. Find Rain-X Silicone Advantage wipers at these retailers.
What if there was something that can reduce body fat, boost mood, get rid of wrinkles, tighten saggy skin, and make you look and feel decades, not years, but decades younger? Interested?
Sarah Vital, available at Ulta and smarter retailers nationwide.
Soft, softer, and the world's softest ever. Introducing the world's softest pajamas from Pajamagram. What makes these pajamas the world's softest? The fleece lining is carefully brushed, which makes it both soft and warm, while the knit on the outside is silky smooth. She'll love the way the world's softest pajamas look and feel, and so will you. Go to Pajamagram.com now and get her what you know she'll love. The world's softest pajamas are not only soft, they look great too. Designed to move with her body, to drape and follow every contour of her every curve. Guys, the world's softest pajamas make a great gift for her, and you get to enjoy them too, all year round. So go ahead and spoil her. You can order these pajamas now in time for Christmas, and every package comes already wrapped, so you don't have to do another thing. These pajamas have all the luxury of cashmere without the high price. The world's softest pajamas are more than a gift. They are a feeling, like wrapping her in relaxation, with the coziest comfort on the inside, and happiness, like a silky smooth smile on the outside. And when she's happy, you're happy too. Soft, softer, and the world's softest ever. Guys, give the gift that keeps on giving. Softness, comfort, and relaxation for her and for you. Call or go online now at Pajamagram.com to order the world's softest pajamas today. With so many different styles to choose from, you'll find the perfect gift just for her. Every order comes with free gift packaging, so you don't have to wrap it, and a personalized gift card. Delivery is guaranteed by Christmas, so order now at Pajamagram.com.
Good morning. Welcome back. Some quick business headlines to get to. Liquid infant ibuprofen recalled nationwide. The affected medication sold at Walmart, CVS, and Family Dollar. Now, it could contain a higher concentration of ibuprofen, which is potentially harmful to babies. So far, there's been no reports of injuries. And you do not want to miss out on this deal. Krispy Kreme bringing back the Day of the Dozens next Wednesday. Now, if you buy 12 donuts at full price, you'll get a dozen more for just $1. And I hear Brian is buying.
That's
Absolutely.
a great deal.
I have so much
For a
cash.
change?
Yes.
Thank you, Carl. Well, the feds reportedly ramping up their investigation into the ties between the brother of Hillary Clinton's campaign manager and Paul Manafort.
These developments showing the scope of Mueller's probe going well beyond the initial question of collusion.
And this is the first time we have someone even associated with Democrats that I could tell. Here to weigh in, Fox News senior judicial analyst, Judge Andrew Napolitano.
I think you're right, Brian. This is the first time anybody associated with Democrats. So this is not, strictly speaking, a Bob Mueller investigation. This is an example of where he discovers something. His FBI agents learned something about Podesta's brother. In the course of interrogating witnesses in D.C., they refer it up here to Manhattan. So the federal prosecutors here are looking at, what are they looking at? They're looking at whether or not the Podesta firm, in conjunction with the Manafort firm, did lobbying for political groups in the Ukraine and did not tell the federal government. Now, you might say, big deal. Okay, it is a big deal. Because in 1938, when the statute was enacted, and there were Americans who were helping the Nazis in Germany, the federal government quite properly enacted a statute saying, you're doing political work for a foreign political entity, we have the right to know about it. So is the failure to register a crime? yes and no. If it's an honest mistake, you can register retroactively.
Which I think they did, didn't they?
Yes, but if you have deceived the government, or if you've done it more than once, if you're hiding information from the government, that's the crime. That's what the feds in Manhattan are looking at with respect to this Podesta group and its connections to Manafort.
And they folded up shop immediately, and Greg Craig is involved too, and Greg Craig was a former Obama White House counsel.
And
correct?
A defense lawyer for Bill Clinton in the impeachment trial. Yes, and a, to this point, very prominent lawyer at a very prominent law firm.
This is one of those things, be careful what you wish for, because the Democrats have been pushing this, and now suddenly, wait, one of their guys got ensnared?
Like the point that Brian made, this is the first time that the Democrats any Democrat is arguably within the ambit of something that Bob Mueller does.
So where does this go next? They'll interview him and determine.
Well, they're going to have to determine whether it was an honest mistake or whether it was criminal.
If you're doing business with anyone, isn't it? Most of us know if you're doing business with someone else, you've got to report that to the federal government, especially another country.
If you were dispersing money for that foreign entity, and if they were paying you huge amounts of money, and you didn't want anybody to know about it, you might try to avoid. This is the theory of the prosecutors. You might try to avoid the reporting. There are several reporting statutes. The one that they use, the Foreign Activities Reporting Act of 1938, is the one that requires the most information.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Michael Flynn. You made headlines yesterday by saying that Don Jr. feels he will be indicted.
You know, I did say that, and I basically was repeating what had already been out there. I since have heard from them, and he says he never said it.
Oh, really?
And it was an inaccurate statement. I take him at his word. But the Flynn revelations, which took place over 19 days, so probably 25 or 30 hours of debriefing. But we don't know where it went. It was very frustrating, as Andy McCarthy just told you, reading that submission, because so much of the submission had been redacted. If the feds are being accurate, they swore to its accuracy, these are still ongoing criminal investigations. Who are the targets? Are they people around the president? Are they people not around the president? There's an old law school examination. The FBI is looking for canceled checks in the basement of your clothing closet, and they find a severed head. What are they supposed to do? Look the other way? No, they have to investigate how the head got there. So this is what sometimes takes them off on a tangent that has nothing to do with what they originally were looking for.
Go for Russia, end up with Turkey.
There you go.
All right.
Turkey.
Yeah. Judge, thank you very much.
Pleasure, guys. Thanksgiving's over.
The country.
Okay, I knew you meant that.
All right. Meanwhile, a surge of migrants trying to get in the United States from California all the way to South Texas. Border Patrol Chief Manuel Padilla says his agency is stretched to the limit. He's going to join us live in the next hour.
And Christmas is 19 days away. Are you still working on your gift list? We've got remote-controlled gadgets, watches, and more exclusively for Fox and Friends viewers. Next.
Work hard to protect this tuchus. To take care of any messy situations. And put irritation in its place. And if I can get comfortable keeping this tuchus safe and protected, you can get comfortable doing the same with yours. Preparation H. Get comfortable with it.
Steinmart's biggest 14-hour sale of the year is here with huge holiday savings. Save up to 50% on sweaters, boots, handbags, activewear, jewelry, sleepwear, and tons of gifts. Hurry in to get $10 off when you spend $30 this Friday and Saturday at Steinmart.
In an era of online retail where everything is just a few clicks away, buying